started. Great. And just to let everyone know, although Zoom also alerts, this meeting is being recorded. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rachel Ralston. I'm the Outreach Manager with the Recover California Housing Programs. Tonight, we are going to go over a program overview of the two 2020 programs offered by the state of California, the Owner-Occupied Rehabilitation and Reconstruction Program, as well as the Owner-Occupied Wildfire Mitigation Retrofits Program, which are two very distinct programs. I wanted to thank Tanya Wold-Switzer and the Long-Term Recovery Group for inviting us in to present tonight. Along with me, I have Lucretia Hoffman, a manager with the program, Brittany Murray, a supervisor with the program, and then my team members, Fatima Juarez and Brittany Halfhide, who are outreach associates along with me on the team. For recording purposes, for folks who aren't able to make it tonight, we would like to go through the presentation in its entirety and then take questions at the end. I made sure to leave a lot of time. The presentation is relatively short and straightforward. So I left a lot of time for us to go through questions. Also, if you have any Spanish translation needs, please reach out to me directly in the chat, and I'll coordinate for you with Fatima to help to get some of your questions answered in Spanish, if that's your preference. In addition, we will be answering some of the more technical program questions again after the presentation, so please jot down any questions that you have, and I'm sure the whole group will benefit from hearing some of that. We will also be sharing this video afterward for folks that you know who may be interested in either one of the programs who weren't able to attend tonight. When we do get to the discussion section, go ahead and use the raise hand feature. That feature, if you're not familiar with Zoom, is down at the bottom of your screen. Off to the right, it's called Reactions. And if you click on the Reactions button, you will see a button that says Raise Hand. When you do, the Raise Hand feature shows up in the upper left corner of your screen, and it goes in the order of folks who have raised their hands so that we can very efficiently call on people in the order in which you all have your questions. So with that, I'll turn it over to Brittany H. to get started with the presentation.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you all for being here tonight to hear about the Recover California housing programs for 2020. And we'll just dive right in. These are federal disaster recovery funds for homeowners affected by qualifying 2020 disasters. And the program is managed by the California Department of Housing and Community Development. And it includes two main program types that we'll discuss tonight. So a little bit of the program background. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development has allocated $231.2 million in federal CDBG DR funds. And if you're not familiar with that, that's the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery to assist homeowners impacted by disasters that took place between August and November of 2020. The two housing programs are the Owner-Occupied Rehabilitation and Reconstruction, or OOR, for damaged main dwellings, and Owner-Occupied Wildfire Mitigation Retrofits, or OOM, for homes that did not sustain damage but have fire mitigation needs. And these are two separate programs for two different populations and their needs. It's also important to note that in both programs, the funds can only be expended within the federally declared disaster areas for 2020. And a list of those counties are here, but I'll go into more detail about those a little later. The first program is the Owner-Occupied Rehabilitation and Reconstruction Program, OOR, and this offers a grant up to $500,000 to eligible homeowners depending on their unique unmet housing needs. The homes must be single-family owner-occupied as a primary residence at the time of the disaster and have remaining rehabilitation or reconstruction needs that were not fully covered by insurance or FEMA or other sources. And these households will be prioritized based on income, severity of damage, and location. When it comes to the income qualification, an applicant may earn up to 80% of the area median income, AMI. For example, the 80% AMI threshold for Santa Cruz for a 4-person household is $102,100. And these numbers are established by the federal government and broken down by county. But we want to encourage an applicant to not be discouraged by this number. And the best way to know if you qualify would be to submit income documents during the application process, in which case managers can also help assist with. Some of the eligibility criteria are all of these must be true. So in order to be eligible for OOR, applicants must have owned and occupied the home in question as their primary residence at the time of the disaster. The home must also be located in a HUD designated eligible county and have been destroyed in a qualifying disaster. The homeowner must also be eligible for federal benefits, meaning that they would have to be a U.S. citizen or a qualified alien. The home must be a titled single-family dwelling or manufactured housing unit on a fixed pad. And in other words, multifamily properties, rental properties, vacation homes, RVs, and other housing types would not be eligible for OOR. And lastly, the homeowner must be current on the property taxes. A really attractive element of the program is that the program manages all aspects of rehabilitation and reconstruction for the homeowner. The program construction management team will inspect the property, create a scope of work, and the contractors then perform the work as defined by the scope. They're also responsible for all environmental review and clearance for the home to meet occupancy requirements before the homeowner does move back in. Some of the uses for the funding for OOR can be used for rehabilitation or the reconstruction costs that resulted from the disaster. And for the most part, the homes must be repaired or reconstructed on the same lot or substantially same footprint as the original home. And there are some exceptions in the case of manufacturing homing units or mobile homes. For example, if a mobile park owner doesn't decide to reopen their park. So how are the awards determined exactly? That's through a award calculation. That's by estimating the remaining repair and reconstruction costs and then subtracting any other funds that were considered a duplication of benefits, or DOB. And DOB refers to any funds from insurance, government, charity, or other sources that was specifically for the home repair or reconstruction. And again, you can work with a case manager through the entire process to determine what counts as the DOB during eligibility. In the case of manufactured housing units or mobile homes, it is very similar in the fact that the construction management team will do the work from the ground up to completion. The construction management team will purchase and install a new MHU or for the homeowner and ensure that the appropriate registration and titling is performed through HCD's codes and standards division. And on to our second program, the owner-occupied wildfire mitigation and retrofits program. This program provides grants of up to $50,000 to homeowners that have disaster mitigation needs on their property. An important distinction for this program is that the home does not have to have sustained damage in the disaster, but it must be located in the eligible county and must have home hardening and defensible space needs on that property. Some of the eligible OOM activities are those that bring the home up to code with wildland urban interface standards, and these are sometimes called WUI code. The criteria for OOM is very similar for the eligibility. The applicant must have owned and occupied the home in question as their primary residence at the time of the disaster. Again, the home must be located in a HUD designated eligible county. The homeowner must also be eligible for the federal benefits, being a U.S. citizen or qualified alien. It must be a titled single family dwelling or manufactured housing unit on a fixed pad. And again, the homeowner must be current on property taxes. Some of those activities for OOM will bring a property up to WUI code, such as defensible space and home hardening activities, such as debris clearance, demolition, landscaping. These will all make the property more resilient and less at risk for any future disasters. The mitigation activities that are performed in an order of importance, and that's noted at the bottom of the slide. And if you wanted additional information regarding that, you could find that on our website. But again, if you or someone you know is unsure if you qualify for the program, we do encourage you to apply and speak with a case manager. For both the OOR and OOM programs, they are only available in those HUD designated most impacted and distressed counties. And for 2020, this includes disasters in counties of Butte, Fresno, Los Angeles, Napa, Santa Cruz, Shasta, Siskiyou, Solano, and Sonoma counties that occurred between August and November of 2020. And at least 70% of the Recover California funds must go to low to moderate income households. And again, these are based on the area median income and can vary, as we know, widely between counties and household size in the state of California. So after completion of the OOR program only, there is a federally required 24-month monitoring period in which the home must remain owner occupied as a primary residence. And some of those requirements for insurance and taxes will be there as well during that 24-month period. And the OOM program, this doesn't apply to that. Some of the program process. So for outreach, staff such as myself are conducting outreach to affected communities through media and engagement with local organizations and events. Recover California's goal is to reach the low to moderate income households and difficult to reach communities and individuals. I'll review this a few times, but for more information, including the application for 2020 housing programs, it can be found on the Recover California website at hcd.ca.gov/ReCoverCA. And if you ever need these materials in a language besides English or Spanish, you can also contact us for that. So about the application itself, it is available on a portal called Neighborly, located on the Recover California website. And case managers are available to assist with the application and submitting required documentation. There are also fact sheets and FAQ documents available on the website to help with application questions or other program information as well. Again, there's a variety of ways that the application can be completed. You can use the Recover California website via the portal Neighborly, over the phone with the case manager, or using a paper application. Of course, it is encouraged to use the website if you do have access to it, because it would be the fastest form. So what the program process and the map looks like, a homeowner can expect this in the OOR program. After completing an application, a homeowner's eligibility is determined, the site is assessed, the scope of work is prepared. The homeowner will then receive OOR funds and immediately remit them to an escrow account. The construction management team then takes care of all permits, construction, and progress inspection. It is important to note that from eligibility into the last step of completion, it could take up to a year. For the OOM program process, it looks very similar. After eligibility is determined, the construction management team will complete the assessment and create a scope of work for all the mitigation activities. Then they complete and inspect the work. And from the step 2 to the last step of completion, it could take up to a year as well. And I'm going to open this to questions. And I believe we're going to walk through the website. So I'm going to open that up for now.
It looks like we do have a question from Julie. Are you able to take a question from her now, or do you want to explain?
I just wanted to run through one thing real quick.
Okay.
And then we'll, yeah, thank you for letting us know. Brittany, if you could, yeah, zoom out, that's great. So I just wanted to take a minute to point out, so this is the, Brittany, can you scroll up just a little, thank you. So I just wanted to point out, this is the main Recover California website. And so in terms of the application that we're encouraging you to complete, if you scroll down, you see the green and gold boxes, the 2020 disasters box. If you click on that link, it takes you to a separate portal, which is the application portal run by Neighborly. So that is accurate. It's a very easy sign up process and a very user-friendly interface. So when you go through it, it should be able to walk you through it pretty smoothly. One really important thing too is when you get into the application, you may feel unprepared, like, oh, maybe I got to dig out that document, or I'm not quite sure about that document, or, oh, you know, this many years of tax returns, I don't want to do this right now, et cetera, et cetera. But it's really important, and we encourage you to complete the application and submit it. You're able to go through each page of the application, even if you don't have some of those documents immediately available. You are able to go through the application and submit the full thing without some of those documents. At that point, you're assigned a case manager who can then help walk you through eligibility, any of the duplication of benefits, or any other of the program policies and procedures that relate to your unique situation. So we strongly encourage you to create an application and walk through it for the program that you're interested in. And then real quick, Brittany, if you could click back to the other homepage tab. It's the other tab. Yeah, there you go. And then scroll up. For everyone's knowledge, information about this program, if you scroll down to the black bar under eligibility and click on that, that will take you to some of the eligibility requirements for all of the programs offered. However, a lot more detail is then located in a related tab for program resources right there under essential resources. And then if you roll down the 2020 programs, that's where you'll find pretty much everything you need, including what Brittany was talking about with the OOM level of importance improvements for mitigation. Those, I think that's page 5 of the 2020 OOM program policies and procedures, but they're very straightforward. They're written very clearly. So any information that you have about your unique case, you are more than welcome to read through these documents. We also have program flyers, and soon we'll have both these presentation slides as well as a recorded version of this webinar up on there as well. Thank you, Brittany. If you could go ahead and stop sharing, we will move on to questions. And looks like Monica, you have your hand raised, but was there a woman named Julie prior? And I'm just not seeing the. Oh, hi, Julie. Okay, yeah, we'll take you, and then we'll go to Monica.
All right. Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we sure can.
Okay. Well, you gave so much information. I don't know if you answered my questions. I'm like not very computer literate, as you can see. But I know that my grandson and I fit into every single category. We lost our home in the CZU fire in Bonnie Doon. So I got this message from Community Mountain Resources. Suzanne in Felton sent me even to tell me about this. I just got it today. So I'm so happy to hear about this program, but I guess, is she going to be the person that can help me, or is it going to be somebody that's different with Recover California that helps with people that like to do things on paper?
So we will have a paper. I'm sorry, Lucretia, if you wanted to explain, I'll defer to you because you'll be able to answer the full question.
Hello. The person that you spoke to before may be able to help you with the application. If you would like for them to help you to submit an application, that's fine. But we also have a team of case managers here at Recover California that'll be more than happy to help you complete the application. We can also send you a paper application in the mail if you would prefer. Yeah, if you want to do it over the phone with us, that's also an option for you. If
Okay.
anyone is interested in completing the application, whether it be online, phone, or the paper application, I just want to let you know, just answering the questions themselves takes about 30 minutes. So that part is relatively easy. I think the hardest part is just maybe the document collection that you have to submit. But once you send in your application to us, we have a case manager that'll be assigned to help you with document collection, understanding what it is that you need, all the next steps, giving you updates. So it's up to you. If you would like for us to help you directly, we're happy to do it. We can get some information from you at the end.
Well, I'm just saying this because Suzanne has my application before when they were the other things. So I've handed in a lot of the financials to her. Of course, there's new ones, but it's kind of the same situation. But there is one other thing I was going to talk about is that I was going to try to get a manufactured home because I couldn't afford a stick built. I had a 1,734 square foot house that burned to the ground. And then the contractors were saying it was going to be $700 a square foot to build a stick built house, which knocked me completely out. All I had was California Fair Plan. Insurance, it took so long to get the insurance. I tried to work with Wells Fargo to let them keep my mortgage, and then I would have enough money to rebuild, but they wouldn't. They jacked me around for 2 years. Finally, I just had to pay them off. They just weren't going to work with me. But in the meantime, I contacted a manufactured home place in Sacramento and actually picked out a model and was working with the guy, gave him the $700 in the escrow, still hadn't collected the money yet. Well, this couple of years have gone by. Finally, I'm almost at the point to go. I don't have enough to do it. I don't have enough actual money. I'm short, but I'm wondering, so I haven't given him the money yet. I just gave him the escrow money a couple of years ago when I thought I was going to be able to keep the mortgage the way it was and actually get the full amount of the insurance check. But I was unable to do that. I had to pay Wells Fargo off. They're the devil, by the way. Wells Fargo, they're just the biggest crooks on earth. But I don't know how that would work into, if that's even going to be you're saying it takes a year. Well, I mean, it's okay. I've given them the money for the escrow, and the guy in Homes Direct helped me redesign the manufactured home the way I wanted it, with doors in a certain place and change things all around. And we're sitting on go, but I just I haven't had enough money to actually get started. Right. I mean, I'm a little bit nervous to give them, because then I'll be giving them everything I've got. And then if there's other things I have to come up with, I'm just going to be, I mean, I'm kind of eating into the insurance money to kind of live on. So I'm at that's my situation. And I don't know what that means as far as I've already picked something out and started on it, but wasn't had enough money to finish it. If we start all brand new or, I don't know.
So you have a very particular kind of situation. And if you decide to submit an application, we'll be happy to kind of walk you through this. What I would like to point out for this program is that we have our own contractors and people who we contract with to provide, either do the reconstructions, the rehabilitation, or an MHU replacement if that was your original home, or if a rehabilitation would be feasible for you. The contract that you have with this other group or agency would not, we don't give money directly to applicants. You would receive an award, and that award would be used to pay the contractor or construction management teams that we have as a part of our program to provide you with the service. So either fixing and repairing your home or doing a reconstruction, because it sounds like you had a stick-built home and it was no longer there, so that's reconstruction.
I would like the stick built.
Huh?
I'd love to rebuild the stick built house. That would be, and I fit into all the financial criteria. I know that because I'm living on Social Security along with my grandson's Social Security. I'm his guardian. He's a minor. So I'm pretty sure we fit into all that. And it would be great if I could take what I have, just give it to you guys, and then we come up with a plan to rebuild a stick-out built house. That would be great.
I would encourage you to submit an application. So work with, I think you said her name is Susan. I'm sorry, I forgot the organization.
Suzanne, yes,
Suzanne.
yeah.
Work with her, make sure that she has submitted your application. And then what we can do is we can kind of walk through everything, all the paperwork and everything that you give to
Okay.
us. And we'll be able to tell you kind of the next steps, because after you submit the application, to Brittany's point, there is an eligibility review process. And during that, we're going to be looking at kind of just your personal eligibility, your income, the property's eligibility, a lot of different things. And I think that's the best way for you to decide what your best next step will be.
That's
Okay.
great, honey. I mean, I would love to have somebody else say it. I haven't paid the construction guy that they told me was the good guy. He's overwhelmed anyway, so he hasn't been able to even, he's come up here twice to look at it. He's a nice guy, but he's pretty overwhelmed anyway. So I haven't given him any money, or we haven't signed any contract on that. I just started on the escrow thing for the manufactured home, because it looked like that was all I was going to be able to afford, if that, right? And then it looked like, well, yeah, if that, maybe, but then if there's any other unforeseen costs, which there always are whenever you do things like this, then I would not even be able to make it to the finish line with what I have for that. So if I'm eligible, I would love to turn the reins over and say yes, if that's possible.
Yeah,
So
so
I
then
would,
I would definitely encourage you to submit your application as soon as possible. Reach out to us, let us know, so we can, our team they're pretty quick about reviewing these applications and following up with you to let you know if there's something else needed or if we need clarity. So the sooner you do that, the sooner we'll be able to kind of give you some information about your next step.
Could I
Okay.
request a paper application?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm gonna post my email in the chat. If you follow up and send me an email, I can get that information out to you, okay?
So I have to send you an email, and then you'll send me a paper application?
Yes, I can post my email and a telephone number. Whichever one works best for you, just reach out to me and I'll be able to get that over to you, okay?
Okay, and I'm sorry, and what's your name?
It's Lucretia.
Lucretia,
Hawks.
okay. Okay, Lucretia, thank you so much.
great,
This
thank
is
you.
so exciting.
Tony, did you have a quick comment?
Can I just jump in real quick, Rachel? So for anyone here, so I know that we have quite a few disaster case managers on this call today also learning about this. And so for those that are here to learn about the rebuilds and if this is a program that fits for them, if you're already working with a disaster case manager and you need support with, you know, the initial parts of your application, you need support with scanning and uploading documents, things of that nature, please talk to your DCM, your disaster case manager that you're already working with. If you don't have a disaster case manager and you need one, there are disaster case managers. You can contact Mountain Community Resources in Felton or Catholic Charities and be connected with a disaster case manager. So I just wanted to make sure that that's clear how to get a disaster case manager. And then I'm wondering also if we can get paper copies of the application to have that the disaster case managers can have on site, so that when people come in, they can, you know, we can have them available to them.
Yes, absolutely. We can coordinate getting that over to you, a digital copy that you can print out. We're also going to be posting that to the website
Great.
for easy download. So great.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Monica.
So that was part of my question, because I'm a disaster case manager for Community Bridges. And I was wondering if we can get a downloadable copy of the applications, both in English and in Spanish. Part of my other question was on the sign-in account for the client when they're trying to access their information on their account. It's just their email and their password, right? Doesn't have anything to do with the disaster case manager at all?
When they register with Neighborly, with that.
Yes.
That's correct. It does not. However, within the application, there is a, is it a communication designee? Is that the term used in the application for for if the disaster case manager, if that is helpful for the applicant to have the disaster case manager support through completing the application, there is a communication designate box for that you can complete so that you can support.
Okay, and is there any specific requirements that you guys need? Because I know with FEMA we have to provide our IDs and stuff.
The applicant would need to complete a communication designee form for you so that you would be able to, or we would be able to communicate together and provide you with updates about their application, and kind of things that might be needed to help move the application along, documentation, et cetera, et cetera. So once the application is completed, just make sure that your client completes that communication designee form. They can also add you as a user to their application in Neighborly, which will help also with you getting kind of notifications.
Okay, so in that sense, is there a way that you guys can send us that form as well? So we can give it both to them at the same time and there's no miscommunication or lapse?
Sorry, I think there's a delay. Sorry about that. We have your email already? If not,
I just sent it in the chat a couple minutes ago. It's monicac@seabridges.org.
All right, got it. And we can send you a copy of the CD form, communication designee form, and the paper application. We will get you a copy of the Spanish language application as soon as it's available.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, go ahead, Monica.
No, that's it. I said thank you.
Oh, great.
If you send any documents that should go out to the DCMs to me, I can send that out to the full DCM team.
Will do.
Wonderful. Yeah, so we'll send a package of the presentation slides, the video link, the paper applications, and the communication designate form. Paper applications in both English and Spanish, communication designate form that you can distribute. So great. All right. Well, thanks so much for that, Monica. Catherine, you're next.
Yeah, let me come out of stealth mode here. Okay, the 2-year requirement to live in the property. Presumably, I will not be able to get any insurance other than the California Fair Plan. And I have heard that those policies can be anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 and up, which I cannot afford. My income is under $30,000 a year, probably under $25,000 a year. So clearly I can't put out $5,000 for insurance. Is there any way that that can be handled? I mean, you know, I'm low income, but I'm not. If I have to pay insurance at the current rates, I can't do it.
Catherine, I'm going to go ahead and answer your question there. We have had a lot of concerns about that in the past, which is why the program no longer requires homeowners insurance.
But I have a mortgage. I'm required to have insurance because I have a reverse mortgage.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Lucretia, I don't know that we've come across that situation before, to be honest. My understanding is that we wouldn't require it as part of the program. So even if your mortgage, even if your mortgage company does require it, unfortunately the program wouldn't be able to assist with funding that. But we don't require that you have it. The only time we would require insurance is if it was in a flood zone. So sorry, that doesn't really help you much, Catherine.
Yeah, I'm just in between many rocks and many hard places, and I just don't see any way out at this point. I mean, the ideal thing would be for me to rebuild. I lost 2 homes. I lost a residence and a rental property, and so I lost my income along with my residence. And if I could get a house rebuilt and sell the property, would there be a waiver that would allow me to sell the property and get some of my equity out so that I could live somewhere decent for the rest of I'm 79 and a half. So, and I have lung cancer, so I may not live long enough to do any of this, but, you know, to help someone rebuild a house and then have them in such hardship that they can't you know, is there any way to waive that 2-year residential requirement? 'Cause
Unfortunately,
I
yeah.
would just be, you know, building the house to get the equity and then going somewhere else. My mortgage company has my rebuilding funds, which are not enough.
Yeah, that unfortunately wouldn't be possible. We can't waive the 2-year requirement for the program.
So what happens if after the house is rebuilt, I go and apply for the insurance and can't pay for it? What do? You get the money back, or? You're not gonna know that I can't pay for the insurance for 2 years until we're there.
Well, again, go ahead, Lucretia, if you'd like.
So, I think the insurance, so the program does not require that you have homeowners insurance on the property. That homeowners insurance situation is more of an issue with, or a requirement of your mortgage company. And so I don't know that it's really our place right now to kind of tell you what to do with that. What we can do is you apply for the program, you're found to be eligible, and you decide to move forward with us. There is that 2-year period that you have to reside in the home. And part of that is because one of the main goals for these types of programs is to help rebuild communities, right? So make them more sanitary, safe, secure for folks, kind of get them back into some sense of normalcy. We can't take it back to how it was before, but we want to do our best to support and rebuild a stronger, safer community. If you think that, we'll send out some information to the TCM. If you'd like some more information about the program, we're happy to share it with you so you can make a decision on whether or not you think this is the right fit for us, but for you rather. But unfortunately, we can't make a determination on or advise you too much on how you should deal with the insurance issue with your mortgage company.
So in other words, if I promise you I'm going to live in the house for 2 years and I can't keep that promise, what happens? Because what's likely to happen is the likelihood is that HUD, which is holding my mortgage, is going to foreclose on the property. That's probably what's going to happen if I don't have insurance on it. So that would be out of my hands, right? I mean, I get foreclosed on, and what am I supposed to do then?
How about this, Ms. Wilson? My information is in the chat. We'd be happy to have kind of a side conversation with you, kind of talk through some of your concerns and possible solutions, or maybe direct you to an organization that might, or someone that might be able to help you a little bit more with this particular situation. Happy to do that, but I think right now, we don't require the homeowners insurance that your mortgage company does, and I think that might be just something that has to be worked out on that end. If you're not sure that you'd be able to keep the 2-year compliance period requirement, that's fine. We can talk to you about what would happen if you weren't able to live in the home for the 2 years. One-on-one.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and apply, because why not?
Okay, and that's why, I think that's a good thing, right? We'll go through the process, apply to the program, we get the information, we'll have these conversations with you. There's a housing counseling sessions that take place to really help you understand kind of what this program does, what your responsibilities would be. And then again, this is a voluntary program. So if you decide that maybe it's just not the right fit, you can always withdraw your application, and we can move from there. And if it is something that you think would be beneficial or you're able to find a solution to your concerns, then we'd be happy to.
Okay, sounds reasonable.
Great. Yeah, great question, Catherine. Thank you.
I think you're probably going to find a lot of people, if you were going for low income people rebuilding their houses, this is not going to be a small problem.
It's not, I mean, we all know it's been in the news as well. It's just, you know, crazy unaffordable insurance, wildfire insurance in California right now. We're absolutely aware of that. Yeah. Thank you again for bringing that. Anna.
Hi, my question was, when I logged into the website to start the application, it doesn't look like what you guys are posting. So I don't know where to go. Well, it looks completely different than what you guys are showing.
Did you click on the 2020 link? Did you go through the?
I don't even have a 20, there's nowhere to go to for a 2020 link.
So let me drop in the chat right now the homepage that we were sharing earlier, and go ahead and click on that link, and then and yeah, just go ahead and do that right now, because we want to make sure everyone on this call is also knows where to go. So go ahead and click on the link I just dropped in the chat. See if what it pulls up looks familiar based on what we just reviewed, and then scroll down to the 2020.
Okay, that's better. Just so you know, if I type in what was, so I went off of what was shared on Facebook and then typed in that link on my browser, and it doesn't bring me to the same page, FYI.
Okay, thank you for that. Anna, can you drop the link that you typed in the chat so we can trace the source of it and get it corrected? Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Great, thanks.
And I'll double check and look at the flyer that I shared on Facebook as well, and I'll report back to you, Rachel, about what that link may be.
Yeah, because I tried it a couple times just to make sure I wasn't, you know, doing something wrong, and both times it took me to the same place. So
okay, yes, thank you for pointing that out. I very much appreciate it. Did you have another question, a program question too, Anna, or was that your?
I'm going to go ahead and fill everything out, and I might not qualify because of finances. I'm in the higher bracket, but I was severely underinsured because I only owned my house a month before the fire, and my insurance agent didn't do my insurance right the way it was quoted. So I don't have enough money to rebuild. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. Yeah, definitely apply. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Lily.
Yes, hi. I had a question about something that's a situation for my family, and it sounds like probably for a lot of other CZU survivor families as well. When people were in a situation where they received their mortgage payout, but they were unable to rebuild at that time, or I'm sorry, they received their insurance payout. They've been unable to rebuild. Many families have used their insurance money to pay off their mortgage. Do those insurance funds still sort of count against you as money that you had received that could have potentially gone toward rebuilding? Did my question?
Yeah, just coordinating who's going to respond. Lucretia, you want to take that?
Yeah, sorry about that. So when you receive insurance, when you receive insurance money and assistance from other disaster recovery programs, part of what we do is in our application process is do a duplication of benefits review. So you would gather from you any information that all the information about what you received from your insurance company, if you got any assistance from FEMA, etc. And our DOB team would review kind of assistance that you received, plus how that money was used. And from there, we'd be able to make a determination. There are some allowable expenses for kind of how the funds could have been used. If you use them for something that they weren't intended, or something that can't use exclusion, then be added to, if you're eligible, you would need to pay the program some type of escrow, right? So we have to use those funds for what they were intended first. But again, my recommendation, you really don't know until you try and apply. So I would recommend applying for the program, providing us with all of the documentation that you have to kind of spell out your situation and what happened with your case. And a member of our team would get back and be able to answer specifically about kind of where you are and what those next steps are. Is that okay?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, Lily. Tanya.
Yeah, so I'm curious about pre-clearances. So are you expecting applicants to come in with pre-clearances completed so they're ready to break ground? We know that, you know, the cost of passing pre-clearances can vary wildly, especially because of the environmental health pre-clearances where septic is involved. So, you know, people that have damaged or destroyed septic tanks can range up to, you know, $100,000 just to get that replaced. And is that rolled into the grant award, or is that something that needs to be completed before you come in?
That is a good question, and possibly outside the scope of my personal knowledge, right? So one of the things is we don't tend in this program, especially for 2020, unlike 17 and 18, where folks could come in and work with the program and a contractor they already had, and they had to complete like 25% of the work needed to improve the home. We don't have that same model for 2020. So we are pretty much starting from the ground up with folks. If they're applying to OOR, the rehab and rehabilitation program, it's pretty much as is. If once you submit your application, you do get a stop work order. So that means any work that's been done to the home or you were doing to the home has to stop as soon as that application is submitted. And we do an inspection of all the properties and things just to make sure that none of things have been violated. That's just a general overview of how the program works. As far as the pre-clearance, things like that, Tanya, if you can send me an email with your questions specifically, I can get back to you. I'll check with our construction management and inspections team to give you a very clear answer for that. But no, they don't need to have done something already in order to apply for OOR. Okay.
Great, thank you for that question. Other questions?
Yes, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yep, sure can.
Oh, okay. I didn't get the website because I'm on a phone and I'm not seeing what you are. Could you go over that again?
Oh, sure. Do you
For the
want?
application?
Oh, yeah. Do you mean read off the website link, or what's the best?
Yeah, because I'm on a phone. I'm not on the Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
So just is it Recover California?
So if you type in, you can do a couple of different ways. We have a redirect for it's hcd.ca/RecoverCA. RecoverCA. And that should redirect you to the main site.
Okay. And if I already hired a contractor, but he hasn't broke ground, he's just doing the plans, is that, do you guys take our plans or do they do your own plans?
So we are,
Good.
sorry, we actually have our own floor plans that you could select from. So if you already had a contractor, we wouldn't be able to use them, unfortunately, because the program can only provide our contractors and our floor plans.
So it's only your plans, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Anna.
So what if you're already like 50% completed? So I already have a structure and all I require are power, plumbing, and basically the sheetrock and all the inside of the house.
I'm pretty sure you're good. Okay. Yeah, so that's a little more complicated, right? Since the program can only use our floor plans and our contractor. So it's not to say that you couldn't participate. You could, but we would probably have to do like a demolition and start over from the beginning to go with our plans.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, we couldn't build on an existing structure that's already there. We have to use one of our plans. So that we wouldn't be able to finish the work essentially, if that's what you were hoping for.
Interesting. Okay. So I would but basically the grant finishes as the house. So if I'm looking to obviously just finish my home and get back home, which is what I want to do, then I'm looking at starting all over again.
For what we can provide. Potentially there would be other funding, but for this source, that's what we can provide.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Sure thing. Right. Other questions? All right. If anyone has a question too, and you don't want to speak up, you are welcome to put it in the chat. So feel free to go ahead and do that right now. If there aren't any other questions within the next few minutes, we'll certainly wrap up a bit early and give you all some of your evening to carry on with what you were doing before. So anyone else? You got the A-team here to answer all your questions. So if you've got a burning one, answer it now. In 5. Yeah, Catherine.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? God, it went right out of my head. I'm old, sorry. I had a real good thought, just came and went. Never mind. I'll email somebody.
Okay. Okay, or put it in the chat or just raise your hand again before we log off.
Okay.
Happy to take it. Great. Anna.
Would that require, would your plans also include like retaining walls and stuff like that?
So that's not something I can necessarily answer. It would really depend on the site itself.
Okay.
If it were required. But
It is required.
Yeah, so if it were something that were required, it'd be something we could take a look at, that construction management would determine. But the program only generally does the structure itself, so any kind of landscaping or outbuildings or anything like that wouldn't usually apply.
Okay, but that's not considered landscaping.
No, I was just saying it generally, so
Got
that
it.
everybody's aware. But yeah, usually we don't do retaining walls. If it's something that's required in order to get a COO, then we would need to do that.
Got it. Okay.
All right, Monica.
Is there an email address that you guys can put up that we can contact you for like general questions or like a quick response besides Lucretia's?
Sure. In terms of you mean in terms of just general, like specific technical program questions or?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Lucretia is probably going to be your best bet, but Lucretia,
Okay.
if there's someone else that you would also like to share this with, or another email, feel free.
Yeah,
So
just
there is a general program question email. It's recoverca@hcd.ca.gov, and I'll post that in the chat. So you can send that, use that for all of your general program questions, and that'll be like a great email also to share with folks who might just have a question or want to talk to someone about the program. We'll get you connected with some of our case managers on our lead. They'll be able to help walk you through. Okay, I just posted in the chat.
thank you.
Great.
Mhm.
Thanks. Tanya.
Yeah, just super briefly, I just encourage anybody who's attending that may know of someone who would potentially be eligible, that this program may be a good fit for, to spread the word in the community, because sometimes programs like this come along and you know, they come and go, and then afterwards people wonder why they didn't hear about it. And you know, we try to reach as many as we can, but we're always going to miss someone. So please, you know, help us spread the word in the community. I will go ahead and post the recording and the you know, the slides back in the Facebook groups where you first saw the link to this. So please just check back there over the next few days, and you can find some more information. And as I learn more about the program as well, if we do another webinar, I'll make sure to share it back in the same channels. But please do help us spread the word, share on your own pages, you know, however you can support getting the word out is appreciated.
Yes, thank you for reinforcing that, Tanya. Catherine.
Yeah, I remembered what I was gonna say.
Good.
You know, you mentioned people getting help from FEMA and SBA. And I was turned down without being turned down, because it just expired before I could get them all the information that they needed. I was immediately denied for FEMA because evidently having a rental property meant I was a business. So I wasn't eligible for any FEMA funds, even for my residence. But they sent me on to the SBA, and the SBA basically didn't have anything that could help me. We went on and on and on and on. But I couldn't tell them what I needed without knowing what I needed, but I needed the money to find out what I needed. Okay. You can't just hire people to give you all this information about your situation and to give you bids. You have to spend money to do that. You have to spend money on a soil engineer and things like that I just don't have in my pocket to spend. So I guess the short question is, does my eligibility for this program depend on where I stand with FEMA and SBA? Because I really don't know quite where I stand with them.
Generally, it doesn't. So would encourage you to apply. The only time that your FEMA standing becomes a real concern is if you, let's say you had received assistance from FEMA and you were required to carry flood insurance and you did not comply with the flood insurance requirement, then if you have violated that, then that would mean that you would not be eligible for additional federal benefits. And because it's federal benefits or it's funded by the federal government, we do have to look into those types of things. But again, would encourage you to apply. The application, answering the questions themselves only takes about 30 minutes. And our team will work with you on submitting the documentation and kind of gathering that from you. And then once we have that, we'll be able to make a determination and kind of let you know where you stand with this program.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great, thank you, Catherine. All right. Any other questions? I don't see anything in the chat. Give it another minute. Great. Well, so again, just to recap, we will send out as a follow-up the recording of this presentation tonight. as well as the slides so that you can go back and review the information. We know obviously there's a lot to digest there between the two programs. We'll also send out via Tanya and the Facebook page, I should say. We won't send it directly to you because I don't have all your email addresses, but it'll get posted to the LTRG Facebook page, as well as the paper application and some of the communication designate forms, which can go to the disaster case managers. So I think that was everything in terms of what we, some of the information requests we had. Did I miss anything? Anyone? Great. All right, well, I want to thank everyone. And again, Tanya, thank you so much for organizing this. Thank you for spending the evening with us. We would be more than happy to assist again with any additional presentations. So please don't be shy. And again, we encourage you so much to go to the website and start an application. Even if you don't have all your ducks in a row yet or aren't 100% certain you qualify, we encourage you to just go through the process so that we can then get you connected with our case management team who can help walk you through the process. As Tanya said, you know, this is a funding source that's around right now. There's a fairly small allocation from the federal government related in relation to the unmet need for the 2020 disasters. So it is likely to go quickly. So we do encourage you. The program's been open for exactly 2 months now. And we encourage you to apply as soon as you possibly can. Please, also again, to Tanya's reinforcement, please send along a link to what she posts on the Facebook page to any of the folks you know who might be interested either in the OOR program or in the mitigation program. So with that, again, everyone have a wonderful evening and a very warm and wonderful holiday season. And you will hear from us soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
everyone.
Take care.
One.
you.